This is Lockie and Ben's impersonation of Dan, the director.
I know, right? Hey buddy, how are you?
You have got to wear your booties.
You have got to wear booties.
Always.
Always wear booties. Keep warm.
I know, right?
I know. I know.
I know.
This is where this film is, and it's real. Hey buddy, how are you?
Action.
Fuck, he's right, man. It's not that big a deal.
You don't even want to be in the fucking contest, Andy. I mean, do you want anything? Oh, no, that's right. You've already got it all.
We found on the first day of casting in Newcastle, two of the characters. But the character of Jesse was a bit more elusive, and that took us 4 more months. And Lachlan actually found us. He found this announcement saying, looking for a 17-year-old character, and he submitted himself. So he, in fact, found us.
I think I rehearsed a bit differently than anyone else because I'm from a further away place, so I first did it over a DVD and then sent that off, and they had a look at that and brought me down to Sydney actually. So then I did another one with the rest of the cast, and apparently went well.
I heard about Newcastle through my agent. They told me that there was a young 24-year-old ex-pro surfer. To me, that was just like a dream. I read the script, passed the script on to my agent in the States. They called up Dan and went on from there.
Dan was very determined to cast the inexperienced actors who had the surfing ability because he felt that without the credibility of surfers, real surfers on the screen, it just wouldn't find the audience.
I started surfing when I was about 12.
I started surfing when I was 8 years old.
I was 16 years old and we felt really cool. We'd go out and surf and yeah.
I'm from the Central Coast, so I grew up surfing. Grew up sort of bodyboarding, surfing, really anything at the beach. And just basically hanging at the beach is what we do there.
As a kid, I wanted to be a pro surfer, and now getting this role, wanting to be an actor from last year. So I've got the two and put them together. Can't ask for more than that. I had an idea of what some directors would be like in their own little world, but Dan's, he's a real person and he's quite spiritual and everything's slotting in exactly how he wanted it. He's just so passionate, like when he talks about a character he wells up tears in his eyes.
It was funny because when we were in the film, making the film, we still didn't have a song for the car scene. And we had the music supervisor sourcing and looking for songs, and I had to approve them, and then the kids would have had to have re-sung the song, and suddenly I realized that I had written this song with Corey years ago that would be perfect.
I don't want no
Complication.
I don't want no
Complication. And I don't need no situation.
but I want.
I had the character of Scotty actually sing the song, Israel, because he's also a pretty established singer-songwriter in his own right. And so he performed it in a demo for us, and then we played that through the car for the kids to sing to. So I came with this part. Corey started saying, he goes, shaking me down, shaking me down, shaking me down.
I've got this going in my ear, so we'll play it. We'll sing it.
Oh, okay. So go back to the cue point again, Ben.
What do you say?
So everyone just has
What
to
do you
follow
say?
Israel's
What's the-
lead because he's got the music in
Or
his
you
ear.
start
Okay,
singing it
follow
then?
Israel.
Alright.
Follow Israel. Whatever you do, follow Israel. Here we
Scotty.
go. You ready, Ben?
Yeah, rolling.
And action.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's
Human
Yelling
about
out.
it. How does it go?
Out loud, I don't want no complications. I don't need no obligations. I need no situation. Can we do that again?
That was terrible.
We'll do that a couple more times.
These are all very young actors. They're all 20, 19, 21, 22, and their experience professionally is very limited. But they were able to just dive into it and believe in it, and believe in this new reality that they created. It was a lot of fun to watch them kind of find their way from themselves to these new people that they're going to be portraying.
You guys come out. You give her a kiss. You come out.
Is he naked at this point?
No, he's got clothes on.
Do it!
And you look at him coming out of the water.
Oh, we're pashing.
Yeah.
Fergus, did you chuck a fat?
No.
Oh shit!
Look at it.
Yeah, all right, Scotty.
Holy shit!
Oh, shit.
It's not a boner, it's just big.
You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Scotty?
Fuck you, Fergus. Fuck you. Touch it. Don't touch it. It's real. Touch it.
For the characters themselves, once we had cast them, what we did was we built a workshop around the Mike Leigh technique of improv that he has for all his films. And there's a wonderful director here in Australia named Rob Marchant who runs a Mike Leigh workshop. And we did a 1-week workshop with him here in Bondi. And it was fascinating to see all these characters, well actually these actors come in as actors and then by the end of the week leave as a community of actors who are now friends, but also characters who are indeed friends and have a history and an interconnectedness and reference points far beyond the pages of the script. And I knew all that would permeate on the screen.
We got up here with years of relationships behind us, so it was easy to just slip into character and know where we stood.
The hell are you guys laughing about?
Sorry, man, you wouldn't understand.
Ollie, give me some.
Oh, give me some. Give me.
Man, these s'mores are good. They're real good.
You make it?
Good, yeah.
Wow.
Really rev it up. And then the radio will come on.
Yep.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, it was kind of like you'd have to. I kept feeling like I was
Felt
a
like
dead
I was having a
cockroach,
seizure
and I
and
was just like this. I did get a smack to the face at one stage, so if I'm bruised
I think
tomorrow,
I kicked Ben in the balls.
Yeah,
I think you always got a knee in there.
stuck guys in the
He
background.
seems to be doing all right now. He's
Yeah, no, it was pretty interesting how they do it all and stuff. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I actually thought we were going to be dragged along, but no, we weren't.
All right, I want to do a rehearsal without the camera and just see where the body's going.
Okay, go ahead, guys.
From
Wait, are we falling which way?
Fine,
that
towards
way.
here.
That way and that way.
Just everywhere. They put kind of half flat tyres and a plank of wood underneath the tent, and people were jumping on that. Then they let half the tent go and had people shaking it, so it added extra effect to our movements.
And then we just rolled around like spasties
And
on the
screamed
floor.
and squealed like girls. It was great.
Who the fuck's in my shot?
Stop!
Oh God!
What is this you're putting on him?
It's blood that has to be edible, so we've made it up, and it's coffee and Milo and.
I was doing push-ups because it was a really intense scene, and basically prior to that scene we were running around getting the boys in the car, and as you can imagine it would have been really hectic, and the blood would have been pumping a lot in the scene, so I did push-ups so my blood would be pumping.
Come on!
Cut. Put these two brothers next to each other. Cool. Jesse and Fergus are there.
Yeah.
And Jake's there, and Leah's there.
Are we doing CPR at this moment?
You're trying, yeah.
Okay.
Now Andy has been revived.
Yeah.
You know, and some water should come out of his mouth. Water should come out. Tell Angela. Yeah. So you coughing up water until you get a second. So coughing up water. Victor is not coming back.
Leon, just keep his neck straight. Oh, fuck, Scotty, my fucking truck. Go. Still bogged. Drive. Come on, Victor. Come on, Victor. Fergus, come on.
He's turning purple.
Stuck in Fergus. Let's go. Come on, please.
Yeah, he just left his hand.
Alright, okay. Provided we line them up in the right way, can you see the monitor, Dan? And all we do is come back
We just tilt their head over
and
the
a
edge.
bit more.
So when you're
There, there.
Right.
That's it.
Ow, this really hurts.
Their feet and legs tilts down to find their heads. Yeah. Okay. Now, to set this railing, we need the real guys and find the exact frame. What are we on? 16.
16 mil at 2.8.
Do you think we have enough to go 25?
Yeah.
Because they'll look prettier.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we'll just change lenses to get a nicer look.
No more photograph. Get it line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That railing. The railing's great. Sells
It's supposed to be.
But it is.
Alright, we see to the sandbag and that's it.
Okay, so I need a bit more.
Just a bit safety after the sandbag.
Yep. We've got a second piece of that. We can just.
God, I hate these bloody eyepieces.
Like that, the long eyepiece?
Yeah, long eyes.
Too many.
I'm so fucking over it. Just took it out of me. He gave me shit too. Yeah. After he busted his knee. Because he knew he was in more places. What, like he was jealous? Yeah. He was lonely. Still do that? Yeah. Best thing you ever showed me.
By the time we shot this film, Super 16 was still the best option production-wise in terms of color and light and dimension that we're going to bring to the screen. We actually like the grain texture and the color. It has a nice color scheme to it, but it's also very easy camera to use in the water, and a lot of surf photography is done with Super 16 cameras.
One of the things that we wanted to do was treat the surfers as individual characters on land and on water. So when they were surfing, they had certain that we cut them differently. Andy, for example, is our hero surfer, our god surfer. We kept his shots a little bit longer. We used a lot more slow motion in moments for him than we did for other people. And we try to cut him as gracefully as possible. Jesse, on the other hand, the character and also his style is harder. It's more violent. So we cut him that way. We cut him a lot more jagged. His shots were slightly shorter. I really loved cutting Scotty and Nathan, particularly because they weren't the leads, they were the peripheral characters. But they were so good. I mean, Israel and Ben did such a good job with these guys, with these kids, and really turned them into very real characters. That whichever scene they're in, and if you watch the film and you just watch it looking at these kids, every scene they're in, every wide shot or master shot they're in, when the camera's not focused on them, when they're just off to the side, they're doing something that's very real to their character, and that was beautiful. It was beautiful to have these two young kids be so in the moment and so in the character, and it was like, well, I don't need to cut. I don't want to cut because I want to keep that essence in the shot.
The other big thing that was important to us was having two different senses of Jesse's worlds. The one at home, inside, which would be a bit dark, a bit claustrophobic, a bit unsaturated, you know, the kind of a bleaker reality. And one that he wants to be in, which is the water and the waves and the beach and the sky and all that stuff. We had this element of the barges on the horizon, which is sort of our interior elements, reflected out in the water, always reminding us of where Jesse is and where he's from and what he's destined or fated to be.
The first tanker of the film was was a moment in the opening, and from then on the tankers appear. Whenever you saw a tanker, it was not only to remind you of Newcastle, but also to remind you of what Newcastle meant for Jesse. And if you watch the film and you actually look out for the tankers, I think you'll see quite a nice character development.
We found in the grade, when we did after we shot the film and go through the post-production process, we could actually affect the watercolor and have that shift as the film shifted into darker subject matter. So while the kids are having a great time in the beginning of the film, surfing, the water's kind of an aqua blue, so it looks pretty harmless. It's beautiful, it's inviting, it's got light going through it. And then as the film progresses and the character of Victor arrives and a sense of danger comes with him, and later in the day, so justifiably the color has shifted in the water because it's all based on the light. So it becomes a bit more steely, a bit darker, a bit grayer, a bit harder blue, and then therefore more dangerous looking. I met a composer in Australia named Michael Yuzerski. So he and I struck up this friendship right away and talked about music, and he liked that I used music very much as a dramatic element. I wanted the score to drive the story as much as the imagery, as much as the script. And so as a composer, he was really attracted to that, and working with the director who thought of score in those terms. One of the things that I kept doing when I was at home back in California thinking about the film was I would come up with different arpeggio kind of look. So I brought this to the composer, these kind of things, and we did a whole series of these different arpeggiated licks and stuff in the score. And, they all kind of basically came from this one that we did up together a few years ago that goes. I just liked that how it had a kind of a tension to it, and so I just kept developing all these different kind of. So it had sort of a water effect. And so what we did was we laid a bunch of that kind of stuff throughout the score. And he would have a bed of other elements and a whole cue worked up, and then I would just come in and kind of play these little arpeggiated sequences throughout it. And it kind of just gave it this lovely texture. Pretty much all the songs in the film come from a source within the film, whether it be someone's radio or basically they're all songs that are playing on the radio in the film that then bleed into a bit of the drama and score. But we wanted to make sure that there wasn't a big gap between where the score and the songs come and go between each other. So we just aligned the score with a real youthful, energetic, pretty big sound guitar-wise. And we used 300 and the Bourne Ultimatum as sort of good reference points in terms of sound and how they used music and how the music actually drove the drama.
When you're lonely, you can shelter from the cold. And you shelter from the dark. And you close your eyes.
In terms of Israel, he also ended up writing 3 other songs for the film. One I requested him to sing and write called Home. And it's all about, there's no place like home, so it's kind of the journey of the film. And that's going to be used in the kitchen scene in the beginning. And then he also wrote the song that happens at the campfire.
Yeah, well, I wrote the words, so...
With the last bit of the chorus and with the chorus you played before, instead of going...
It was great to have this actor come in, get the role of Scotty, then suddenly discover that he's this great musician who was capable of writing songs for the film, and then have him write these really wonderful songs that are specifically written for the film or during the film, and then be a part of the film. So I'm really proud of that discovery, and happy to have had that in the film. You know, it's good. And I look forward to seeing where Israel goes with his career as a musician as well as an actor.
So what are you going to do when you get back home? Are you going to pursue acting?
Yeah, well, you know, I'll take what I can get and just go home, chill with my family, play some music, hit the road, play some shows, do some travelling and work at my surf shop.
Always, and so I'm calling out, Can you hear me when I say, hold on? They say that all things change. Hold on. They say that all things change. Now picture this, a little child born to lie.
I think they're going to want to move to Newcastle. Or certainly move to Australia immediately.
I think they'll grab their surfboards and run down to the beach and hit the waves.
I hope they just feel refreshed. I hope they feel refreshed.
For a lot of people who aren't familiar really with that whole surfing kind of essence, they'll really get a big insight into how all of that works.
And if this film, you know, just sends people home, I think if people can go home and reflect on the film and somehow just go to a friend or a mother or a father or whatever, even if it's not the great words, I love you, the magic 3, you know, even if they just somehow, you know, spark up something that may regenerate something, then this film's achieved something great. And I'm convinced it will for a lot of people.